Republican strategist and partner with Steinhauser Strategies, Brendan Steinhauser. Great to have you both. Brendan, I'd like to start with you. As you know, the president, he's taking a lot of heat on tariffs, a lot of anticipation about these talks over the weekend in Switzerland. The president now saying great progress was made. We now know a final deal out of this appears unlikely, but what do you see as a threshold for success here coming out of these talks? What would need to happen for the American public generally to say, I think things are headed in the right direction in a comfortable timeline, and for the markets also to regain a little confidence?
Yeah, first, thank you for having me on the show. I think obviously the trade war that's going on right now is creating a lot of uncertainty among the American people and frankly throughout the world. And so I think what people are looking for is a deal that provides some certainty, some element of predicting in the near term, in the midterm, hey, we can count on where things are going to be. We can count on what the rates are going to be. I think people are itching for a deal because they know that the impact so far has been really quite negative on the markets. And in the months to come, if we don't get a deal, this could be really bad for Main Street in addition to Wall Street. So I think that people are looking for a deal where they can at least know where we're going to be as a country in the months to come. I think everybody's really concerned about the supply chains right now. Those things are extremely complicated, and if we don't get the trade deals right and we don't get them done quickly, we could have some major supply chain issues in the near term.
Yeah, you know, China's April economic growth numbers, they were down significantly from previous months. Some American manufacturers say they've been receiving a lot of orders for component parts and goods in lieu of China supplying those. Brendan, what do you make of the argument that those realities do put the U.S. in quite a strong position to negotiate?
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly make that argument, but I think, again, we have to look at what history suggests. History suggests that when we have these sorts of situations with tariffs and with uncertainty in the global marketplace, it leads to bad outcomes. It can lead to recessions. It could even lead to a depression. And so I think most economists would say, you know, we're not in a good place right now. Yes, I understand the element of trying to negotiate and put out a position to start from and come in with strength. I think that's a good thing. I think that the president would make that argument that, look, we've been arguing from a position of weakness. We've been taken advantage of by China especially. So I think a lot of people understand that and are giving him some benefit of the doubt. But I do think at the end of the day, we need to have policies that are creating certainty for the American people and for the world. And I think markets will react accordingly if we get this right.
You know, I'd like to look at this through the political lens as well, because it's really fascinating. One investor was quoted in Axios saying this, that politicians can handle bad headlines and even bad markets for a while, but there will be hell to pay if photos of empty Walmart shelves go viral. The only thing more powerful than loyalty to Trump is wanting to get reelected. What do you make of that argument and the potential stress that puts on a timeline here?
Well, look, I think from a political perspective, you know, every election has jobs as the #1 issue or the #2 issue going back for a century. It's very clear that the American people care about jobs first and foremost. It's their livelihood. They care about their paychecks, putting food on the table, paying for health care, paying for energy costs. And so, yes, I do think that the economy is front and center. And so the voters who voted for this president, again, they're giving him the benefit of the doubt. They believe in him. They support him. I don't think they're going to flee him right now. But I do think that if we were to enter a recession, you know, especially after a year or two of that heading into the midterm elections, certainly that could be really bad for the Republicans. And I think the president and his party would get blamed. But I do think, look, the president had a fantastic first term, economically speaking. If he goes back to those policies, tax cuts, deregulation, trying to reduce spending, I think he can get us in a much better place economically. Just, you know, get the deals on the trade deals, get the trade war over with, cut the deals, and then focus on the policies that he pursued in the first term.
Yeah, so many looking forward to the conclusion here. Brendan Steinhauser, thank you as always for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.